The other opposition, the other voice of opposition that we hear is this loss of the mythical local control. First of all, I have a question. If you don't really have any controls over your own property, over the actual ownership of your property, do you control anything? No. See, this is what I think. When they talk about local control, they're talking about controlling the locals. We can't restore any local controls until we, the people, actually have control over their own property. And that's never going to happen as long as the government is your landlord. We talked a little bit about the Constitution of Pennsylvania. Article 9 of the Constitution of Pennsylvania talks about your local government. Article 9 of the Constitution of Pennsylvania describes in detail what local government is. You find me the school district. It's not in there. It's not in there for good reason. The local school district is not a governing body. So somebody tell me why they have taxing authority. How did this happen? It started in 1949. It started in that first book on the end there, 1949, the Public School Code. This is the thinnest of all three books. The Public School Code of 1949. This book is a manual of regulations and rules. It was put together to consolidate the education laws. That was the excuse they used. But they didn't consolidate them, they expanded them. Inside here is the creation of the Department of Education and the State Board of Education. The State Board of Education consists of 22 members. 4 of them are actually elected officials. They're the chair of the majority and minority in the education committees in the House and the Senate. The actual chair of the committee doesn't have a vote. The other 17, they can outvote, are elected representatives. They're appointed, not elected. And they gave us this monster, Title II of the Pennsylvania Code. We've taken an agency in government that was created to enforce this and gave them the power to write this, to legislate. Now this is a department in the executive branch, and they have the power to legislate through regulation. How did that happen?
Happens in D.C.
It does.
All the time.
And then we give them the power to fine, fee, and penalize us, which is what? Judiciary. And in the process, guess what you don't have? Due process. We've combined all 3 branches of government into this administrative branch. And it's not just the Department of Education, it's every damn department, agency, and commission in both the state and federal government. And it's time that we start tearing this down. HBSB 76. It's not written into the bill, but I'm about to tell you something about this bill that you need to really understand. A, the funding formula that's so inequitable across this state. Some school districts get 15%, other school districts get 85 to 90. Do you know part of that funding formula is built around the property tax? What happens when the property tax goes away? What do they have to do with that formula? How about if we go back in and we recalculate that formula where we start following the student, because it's supposed to be about the student, not the school district. And we start following our students, and we base this upon student population. That's one of the benefits of passing this bill. But there's another. Most of you are aware of Common Core. That's this. Because apparently we don't have enough controls on our local school districts yet. So we need this. This replaces the 607-page No Child Left Behind. Now actually, this is only part of Race to the Top. We have no idea what Race to the Top, how big this is going to be to us.
I'll be an intro.
Race to the Top is being implemented in phases. One phase at a time. We're in the third phase. One phase at a time. I have a question for you. Somebody came up to you and said, we would like you to participate in a program where you compete for funding. But we're not going to tell you how much it's going to cost. We're not going to tell you what you have to do while you're competing for that funding. And we're not going to tell you whether or not we can prove that it actually works. Would you buy it?
No.
Your state board of education bought it, and they're educated. What's happening to our public schools is a travesty. It's time that we tie the hands of the state board of education because, gee, if there's no school property tax, how do you push down a $645 million program to the local level without going to the General Assembly to get funding for it? How do you do it? You don't. You don't. This is another one of those things that makes this bill work for us. 11 and 912 Project has developed a resolution. The board of 11 and 912. Janie and I have worked hard. I write it and Janie tells me, you need to fix this. And then she corrects and she restructures and she makes it look nice. Because I get mad and I just start typing. But it's a step-by-step constitutional resolution, taking each point of our state constitution and declaring them whereas, and then we declare. Copies of the resolution are available back there. We would like you to take those home and read them and come to the next meeting prepared to vote on this resolution, because this resolution will go to every legislator in Harrisburg. It will go to our governor. It will go to our lieutenant governor. It's going to go everywhere. And this is this is purely on a constitutional argument. I would like to read the last part of this. Whereas Article 6, Section 3, oath of office requires senators, representatives, and all judicial, state, and county officers shall, before entering on the duties of their respective offices, take and subscribe the following oath or affirmation before a person authorized to administer oath. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. The oath or affirmation shall be administered to a member of the Senate or to a member of the House of Representatives in the fall of the House to which he shall have been elected, and any person refusing to take the oath or affirmation shall forfeit his office. Therefore, we declare the school property tax to be an unconstitutional tax and call for its immediate elimination. Relief instead of reform is not an option. The entire structure of school funding through the unconstitutional application of the school property tax must be eliminated. It must be replaced with a system of taxation based on product and labor, sales and income, that is tied to inflationary and economic protections of those being taxed. Education funding outside of local controls on building maintenance and new building construction is the responsibility of the Commonwealth, and each school district should be funded based upon their current educational needs, with future spending capped by economic protections to the citizens of this Commonwealth. The funding for new buildings, the maintenance of those buildings should be the responsibility of the local community, and the decisions of those projects must be placed firmly before the citizens in that community through voter referendum where they can give their consent by vote. All future mandates and regulations must be tied to the limitations of available revenue adjusted by economic measures so as not to place unnecessary burdens on those being taxed. To this end, we support the Property Tax Independence Act under House Bill and Senate Bill 76 as a way to move the school property tax under conformity to the Constitution while upholding the principle of the protections of our inherent rights to be the primary objective of our legislators. We also declare that any legislator who refuses to support such legislation is in violation of their oath of office and therefore unworthy to reside in that office under the oath they have sworn to uphold.